Welcome to CRYSTALIM, a PC puzzle platformer game where the player controls a Krista, a ghost-shaped being with the ability to phase between the physical and spirit worlds. Set in a series of lava-filled caves and ruins, the player completes puzzles to find the memories of their lost civilization and ultimately restore their history. Along the way, players find essences of long-gone Kristas and free them from their dormant states. Devoid of enemies, the game focuses on environmental puzzles with the use of the dash and shield mechanics. CRYSTALIM is a third-person 3D platformer game with exploration elements, set in a similar style to Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon. Although it's fairly simple, it challenged us in many ways, from communication to technical limitations and beyond. We developed CRYSTALIM in the May 2014 version of the Unreal Development Kit on Unreal Engine 3 over the course of 3 months as our final project for Full Sail University's game design program. It wasn't always about little ghosts and Kristas, though.
The original pitch for CRYSTALIM had the player using echolocation to navigate the world. Players could also resonate with different crystals to gain abilities, such as seeing through certain walls or growing vines to climb to higher areas. Shortly into the design, though, we found that echolocation didn't synergize with the other abilities as we had thought it would. We replaced it with the phasing ability and began to shift toward designing a game with a faster pace. Over time, we implemented potential replacement abilities, such as dashing and shielding. We, and those who tested our game, loved the dash, so it became a pillar for our future level and mechanic design. We started with a vague concept, but through iterative design and testing, formed a clear vision.
You'll find this topic come up often here, as it has served as a major influence to the success of our project. Everything we learned about communication in the past is absolutely true. Without it, our game would have quickly turned into a giant mess because we would have had no idea who was working on what. It's important to have a solid communication process, as well as some sort of decision-making process. We had both. We communicated every day, letting each other know what we planned to do, what we were doing, and how we were doing it. Before any decisions were made, the entire team was consulted, and we bounced ideas and suggestions off of each other. Together, we were able to make decisions based on what we felt was best for our game. I think we would all agree that this process was our greatest technique.
As previously mentioned, there was a drastic shift from the CRYSTALIM concept to what it eventually became. Originally, we wanted a much darker environment, only allowing players to see with an echolocation ability called resonance. The idea worked well enough throughout prototyping, but within the first week of actual development, we came to realize that the game was moving in the wrong direction. We realized that we were making darkness the game. At the end of the day, we found that when we broke it down, we were basically asking the player to play hide and seek in a pitch black environment with a flashlight on cooldown. We originally intended to have enemy AI to provide additional challenge. AI would chase the player or provoke players within strict platforming areas. We planned to utilize the dash and shield as defensive mechanics versus the AI, but just weren't able to find that delicate balance between hazardous enemies and puzzle platforming without incorporating combat, which is something we wanted to avoid entirely. Ultimately, we excluded the AI element. Attempts at balancing were quickly leading into feature creep and potential for us to lose sight of our goals and overall scope.
The most valuable skill that was used, learned, and mastered by the team was the ability to work together as a team and to communicate accordingly with each other. With the industry only getting bigger, this not only means more games are being put out, but more designers and artists are entering the field. What makes CRYSTALIM stand out more than others was not our skills in mastering UDK or design philosophy, but working together throughout the entire project. Communication is fundamental throughout the entire development process and one of the driving factors behind our team's success.
Other than our dash feature, we have a couple of other features that played a big role in determining how we were going to design our levels. Our phase ability, which allows the player to swap realms, is a very complex set of vector math. For this, we really needed to design levels that could assist in building the overall experience and challenge with phasing between two different realms. Additionally, we took advantage of our phasing ability to include spatial puzzles that becomes more challenging as the player progresses. Our shield mechanic was also fun to put together. The feature itself actually went through a couple of iterations, but we were able to design it so that it feels just right to use in our game. Initially, it was our intention to include some kind of enemy in the game and the player would use the shield to play a defensive and more strategic role, but we quickly scratched that idea and the shield became a tool for the player to use to solve puzzles, mostly involving switches.